Abandoned and heartbroken. Frozen German Shepherd left in the rain, losing hope. The night is dark and filled with a heavy storm. The rain falls in sheets, drenching everything in its path, while the wind blows hard, making the air feel even colder. In the middle of this fierce weather, a German Shepherd lies abandoned on the side of a lonely street. The once beautiful dog, now soaking wet and tired, is left alone to face the harsh rain. Its fur, once thick and strong, is now weighed down by water, offering no protection from the cold. Every raindrop feels like a sharp sting, adding to the dog's misery. Around it, the world is eerily silent. There are no voices, no sounds of footsteps, nothing to offer comfort or hope. The dog lies there, confused, trying to understand why it has been left all alone in such a cruel place. Its eyes, once filled with joy, are now clouded with sadness and fear. The storm seems endless, and the dog feels just as hopeless, forgotten by everyone it once trusted. It is alone in the cold, and with each passing second, its spirit grows weaker. Physically, the dog is in terrible shape. It shakes from the cold, its body sore and stiff. Its legs, weak from exhaustion, can barely hold it up. The dog's coat is soaked, and its body is covered in cuts and bruises. It has been alone for too long, struggling to survive without food or shelter. Its energy is drained, and every movement feels like a struggle. The cold has seeped deep into its bones, and it can barely lift its head, too tired to fight the storm. But the pain in its body isn't the worst part. The real pain is the heartbreak. The dog doesn't understand why it was left behind. Why did the people it loved walk away, leaving it to suffer alone? The confusion and sadness are overwhelming. The dog feels abandoned and lost, with no answers, no hope. It used to trust people, but now it is unsure of anything. The sadness feels like a weight on its heart, making it feel even colder. It no longer has the energy to keep going, and as the rain keeps falling, it feels like it is losing everything. Its spirit, its hope, and its will to live. Days stretch on, one indistinguishable from the next, as the German Shepherd endures the relentless storm. Each day feels like an eternity, filled with suffering and pain. The dog's body grows weaker with every passing hour, worn down by the constant exposure to the harsh elements. The once healthy dog now bears the physical toll of its ordeal. Its fur, once shiny and thick, is now matted and dull, its skin raw and sore from the constant soaking in rain. Every movement is a struggle, and the pain from the cuts and bruises it has suffered over the days seems never-ending. Hunger has become a constant companion. There is no food, no warmth, no safety. The dog's stomach growls, but there is nothing to ease its hunger. The constant thirst only adds to its misery, but the dog has learned that even water is hard to find. Every day it tries to find something, anything that might help, but there is nothing. The dog's body grows weaker and weaker, and with each step, it feels as if its life force is draining away. In its weakened state, the dog feels completely alone. It lies in the street, shivering, staring out into the emptiness, its heart heavy with grief. It can no longer understand the world around it. The world that was once full of love and companionship is now an unrecognizable place, full of fear and cold. The dog's trust in humanity has been shattered, and it no longer believes that anyone will come to help. The people it once loved and trusted are gone, leaving only emptiness behind. Its spirit, once full of life, is now clouded with hopelessness. Every moment of suffering only deepens the feeling of abandonment, and the dog wonders if it will ever feel loved again. Driven by the need for survival, the German Shepherd tries desperately to find shelter. It stumbles from alley to alley, searching for any place that might provide a little protection from the cold, rain, and wind. There is no safe place for it to hide, no refuge from the relentless storm. It finds small corners and doorways where it hopes it can rest, but every time it settles, the dog is chased away or ignored by people passing by. They don't stop to look, don't stop to help. To them, the dog is just another stray, insignificant in a world where they have no place. The dog tries to find shelter under trees, curling up as close to their trunks as it can. hoping the leaves might offer some relief from the rain. But the trees offer little protection. The water drips from the branches, and the ground is cold and wet. After a short time, it is forced to leave, seeking another place to escape the downpour. Each failed attempt makes the dog's desperation grow. The spirit is breaking. There is no one to help, no one to show kindness. The dog begins to lose hope, its will to survive faltering with each passing day. The constant battle to find shelter only adds to the emotional strain. And as the days wear on, the German Shepherd begins to doubt if it can continue this fight much longer. With each new attempt and each new failure, the dog feels more isolated, more disconnected from the world. Its body is weak, its mind worn down by days of searching with no result. But still, it struggles on, driven by the sheer instinct to survive. Despite the overwhelming pain, the exhaustion, and the heartbreak, the dog refuses to give up. The battle to stay alive rages within, but as the days pass, it becomes harder and harder to hold on to the small glimmer of hope that remains. The fight for survival is no longer just physical. It is a battle of spirit, and with each passing moment, the dog's spirit becomes more fragile, its fight more desperate. The German Shepherd's body, frail from days of hunger, exhaustion, and relentless cold, can no longer bear the weight of survival. It stumbles weakly across the street, its legs barely able to hold it up as the strength slowly fades away. With every step, the ground seems farther away, the world spinning. The once alert eyes that were full of hope now seem dull and listless, too tired to fight. Finally, its legs give way, and the dog collapses in the middle of the street, its body too drained to go any further. It lies there, its breath shallow, every inch of its body screaming in pain, each breath a struggle. The cold rain continues to fall, but the dog is too exhausted to move. Its body aches, and the hunger pangs are so intense that they feel like they are gnawing at its very core. The dog feels as though it is at the end of its journey, unable to take another step, unable to continue fighting for its survival. In that moment, the dog's spirit falters. It has been fighting for so long, but it no longer has the strength to continue. It closes its eyes, letting the darkness wash over it, resigned to its fate. It no longer believes that anyone will come to help it. It no longer hopes for a future. The dog lies there, still and silent, waiting for the end, unsure if help will ever come, unsure if anyone will notice the desperate plea it once tried to convey with its eyes. The harsh reality of abandonment, loneliness, and suffering has become too much for it to bear, and in its final moments, it surrenders. Just as the dog's spirit seems to fade completely, a figure appears in the distance. A passerby, walking briskly down the street, notices the poor creature lying motionless on the ground. For a moment, the world seems to pause. The stranger stops, staring at the dog with uncertainty. There is a brief flicker of hesitation, as if the passerby is unsure whether it is too late to help. The dog's condition is severe, its body too still, its eyes closed as though it has already given up. The passerby stands frozen for a moment, torn between the urge to help and the fear that the situation might be beyond saving. The dog's fragile body lies in the rain, and the stranger wonders if any intervention could change its fate. But then, just as the last glimmer of hope starts to flicker in the dog's fading heart, the passerby steps closer. Their footsteps are soft, cautious, unsure, but they reach down and gently stroke the dog's wet fur. The touch is soft, tender, and for a fleeting moment, the dog stirs. A wave of warmth spreads through the dog's battered body. It's not much, but it's enough to bring the tiniest flicker of hope. The dog's eyes open for a brief second, locking onto the stranger's face. In that instant, it can feel that someone cares, someone sees it, even if it's only for a brief moment. The dog's heart skips a beat. It's unsure if this stranger can help, but just the touch, the simple act of being seen, brings a renewed sense of possibility. But the dog is still unsure, still too weak to move. His body is too tired, and its spirit is still fragile. The hope that was briefly rekindled flickers out as the dog's exhaustion takes over again. But for just a moment, a brief moment in the midst of its despair. The dog remembers that it's not completely alone in the world, that someone noticed, someone cared, even if it's just for a second. It's a small moment, but for the dog, it means everything. As the passerby hesitates, unsure of what to do, fate intervenes in the most unexpected way. A family, mom, dad, and 2 children, are driving home from an errand when they spot the motionless German Shepherd on the side of the road. At first, they are shocked by the dog's condition. The sight of it lying there, broken and cold, strikes them hard. They can't believe how badly the dog has been treated, abandoned to suffer alone in the harsh weather. The mother gasps in disbelief, the father's face hardens with concern, and the children, though young, understand enough to know that this dog needs help. Without hesitation, the family pulls over. They get out of the car, each one feeling a sense of urgency and compassion. The mother crouches down, her voice soft and reassuring as she speaks to the dog, though she knows it may not have the strength to hear her. The father, his heart heavy with sympathy, begins to gently move closer, instinctively reaching out toward the poor animal. The children stand back, quiet but watching, unsure of what they can do but knowing that something must be done. The dog, its senses dulled by exhaustion, flinches slightly at the new presence, instinctively retreating, unsure of what to expect. But the family doesn't push it. Instead, they move slowly, giving the dog space, their voices soft, their movements gentle, until the dog realizes that they're not there to harm it. The warmth of their presence begins to break through the dog's defensive barrier, built by days of fear and pain. For the first time in a long while, the dog feels something it had long forgotten: comfort. The family's care, even though hesitant at first, shows the dog that maybe, just maybe, it can trust again. With quiet determination, the family carefully begins the rescue. The father, his strong arms tenderly cradling the dog, lifts it gently off the cold pavement. The dog's body is stiff, weak, and shivering uncontrollably, but the family knows that they have to move quickly to save it. They wrap the dog in a warm blanket, securing it carefully, trying to shield it from the bitter cold. Every touch is filled with tenderness, every motion measured to avoid causing any more pain. As they lift the dog into their arms, the mother whispers soothing words, promising that everything will be okay, that the dog is safe now. The dog, too weak to resist, lets them lift it into the car, but there's a slight stirring within. Something inside it shifts. It's still unsure, its heart still healing from the deep scars of abandonment, but it can feel the warmth of their embrace, the tenderness in their hands, and something begins to change. The love and care that the dog had longed for, that it had given up on ever receiving, slowly seeps into its broken heart. As the family drives to the nearest vet, the dog lays quietly in the back seat, wrapped up warmly. Its once lifeless eyes now show a glimmer of recognition, a hint of the bond being formed with this new family. His body is still weak, still exhausted, but its spirit is no longer completely broken. The rescue has done more than just save its life. It has given the dog something it thought it would never have again: hope. And as the family talks softly in the front of the car, the dog rests, finally beginning to understand that not all humans are the same, that some, in fact, are capable of incredible kindness and love. After a long, tense ride to the veterinary clinic, the family gently carries the German Shepherd inside, still wrapped in blankets, its frail body barely moving. The dog is barely conscious, its eyes flickering open and closed, the strain of suffering etched deeply in its face. The vet, a calm and experienced professional, immediately takes charge of the situation. She approaches the dog with care, speaking in a soft, soothing voice to reassure it that it's safe, that the worst is over. As the vet examines the dog, the full extent of its condition becomes painfully clear. The dog's body is a mess of injuries and wounds, some old and some fresh, signs of neglect that run deep. Its fur is matted with dirt and grime, the skin beneath raw and swollen from exposure. It is also severely malnourished. Its ribs show prominently, its body hollow and weak from hunger. The dog's eyes, once full of life, are now clouded with confusion and fear, evidence of the emotional trauma it has endured. The vet gently cleans the wounds, applying soothing ointments, and starts an intravenous line to hydrate the dog. She speaks softly to it as she works, as though to reassure the animal that it's in safe hands now. Along with physical treatment, the dog also receives emotional care. The vet understands the importance of treating the heart as well as the body, and she takes extra time to ensure the dog feels comforted. Not just physically, but emotionally. This is the first step toward healing, the gentle touch, the calm words, and the love it so desperately needed but never received. Back at the family's home, the journey of recovery continues. The dog is provided with a quiet, comfortable space, a soft bed by the family's side where it can rest and heal. The father and mother take turns sitting with the dog, speaking to it gently, offering it reassurance and comfort, and watching over it with loving attention. The dog, though still weak and unsure, begins to realize that it is in a safe place. For the first time in what seems like an eternity, it starts to feel secure. The family doesn't rush the process. They understand that trust must be earned, and they are patient. They provide fresh food, water, and a warm environment. They take care not to overwhelm the dog with affection or attention, respecting its need for space. Gradually, the dog begins to show signs of responding. It starts to eat again, albeit slowly at first, but the nourishment is a small victory, each bite a step toward healing its body and soul. The children, with gentle hands and soft voices, begin to approach the dog more frequently, not out of urgency, but with kindness. They don't push for affection, allowing the dog to come to them in its own time. Slowly, the dog begins to trust them. It allows the children to pet it, a tentative nudge here and there. It starts to wag its tail, albeit weakly at first, but it's a clear sign that the dog is beginning to learn that it's not going to be hurt again. The family's consistent care, without pressure, without fear, creates a new environment for the dog, one where love can heal and grow. Days pass, and with each one, the dog's recovery takes small but significant steps forward. The dog begins to show interest in its toys, the once dominant fear of movement now replaced by a cautious curiosity. It starts playing again, gently nudging a ball with its nose, wagging its tail in excitement. The family watches in awe as the once broken animal, who had no energy or desire to live, slowly returns to its playful, curious nature. The dog, who once flinched at every loud sound and sudden movement, now feels comfortable in the presence of its new family. It comes to the door when they arrive home, its tail wagging in a welcome that was once unimaginable. It licks their hands, its affection pouring out in soft gestures of love, something it had once forgotten how to do. The once skeptical dog, who had been so withdrawn, now curls up next to the children, seeking their company and warmth. These small milestones are powerful. They aren't just about the dog's physical recovery, but about rebuilding the trust that was shattered long ago. Every moment of affection, every playful nudge, every tail wag is a victory, a testament to the strength of love and patience. The dog is no longer just a survivor of abandonment and neglect. It is a beloved member of a family, full of hope for the future and free from the shadows of its past. As the days turn into weeks, the family realizes that their bond with the dog has grown beyond just the act of saving it. They have become its family, its safe haven, its place of trust. And the dog, in turn, has shown them the true meaning of resilience. How, even in the face of overwhelming despair, the heart can find its way back to love and light. The healing process for the German Shepherd is no longer just physical now. It's about trust, companionship, and love. As the dog continues to recover, its bond with the family deepens, particularly with the children. The kids, fascinated by the dog's resilience and thankful for its second chance at life, shower it with love and care. They're always eager to spend time with the dog, whether it's sitting quietly beside it, talking to it in soothing tones, or playing fetch in the yard. Their affection is genuine and patient, and they give the dog the space it needs to grow comfortable with their presence. In return, the dog begins to respond. The once shy, withdrawn animal, who had been wary of touch and contact, slowly starts to seek out the children's company. It nudges them for attention, eagerly licking their faces when they bend down to pet it, and its tail wags excitedly in greeting. The transformation is remarkable. The dog's fearful eyes have softened into eyes that are full of affection and joy. It no longer cowers at sudden movements or strange sounds. Instead, it relishes the human touch, basking in the love it once never thought it would experience again. The emotional wounds begin to heal as the dog learns to trust not only its new family but itself, knowing that it is worthy of love. As the dog grows more comfortable, its playful spirit emerges. It eagerly chases after toys, barks happily during playtime, and greets the family with a joyful energy that's been dormant for so long. It's as though the dog is reclaiming the parts of itself that were lost in the trauma of abandonment. The family is delighted by this transformation. They see more than just a dog recovering from hardship. They see a joyful companion who is now a full, vibrant member of the family. The bond between the children and the dog becomes one of pure affection, built on trust and a shared sense of joy. The dog's transformation continues as it adapts to its new life, a life filled with love, security, and endless possibilities. Gone are the days of wandering alone in the cold, abandoned and frightened. Now, it enjoys the comfort of its new home, a safe haven where it's not just tolerated, but cherished. In the yard, the dog runs with the same energy and enthusiasm it had as a puppy, its tail wagging furiously as it enjoys the simple pleasures of being cared for. The family has created an environment where the dog can not only heal physically but also thrive emotionally. The dog no longer shies away from people or objects. It is seen snuggling on the couch with the family, lying in the children's laps while they read books, curling up by their feet at night as they watch TV. These small moments, once thought to be impossible for the dog, are now a cherished part of its daily life. It's clear that the dog feels loved, safe, and at peace for the first time in its life. The once broken animal, who had once lost all hope, is now the joyful, affectionate companion the family had always dreamed of. This journey of transformation is nothing short of miraculous. The dog's physical health has fully returned. Its coat shines, its energy is abundant, and its eyes sparkle with the joy of knowing that it has a family who will always be there for it. But more than that, the dog's spirit has blossomed. It is no longer just a rescue. It is a vibrant member of a family, living its best life. The bond between the dog and the family has grown so strong that it's hard to imagine a time when they weren't together. The children love it like a sibling, the parents see it as part of their family, and the dog, finally free from the chains of its painful past, knows that it is loved. The transformation is complete. From a broken, abandoned animal to a joyful, playful pet living a life full of love. And the family, forever grateful for the dog's arrival, knows that it was not just them who rescued the dog, but the dog also rescued them, teaching them the true meaning of resilience, love, and second chances. As the story reaches its final chapter, we take a moment to reflect on the German Shepherd's incredible journey. A journey marked by heart-wrenching abandonment, profound suffering, and the seemingly endless battle for survival. The dog, once left alone in the cold rain, exposed to hunger and pain, had lost all hope. Its heart had been broken, and its spirit shattered by the cruel actions of those who abandoned it. But despite everything, the dog had never fully given up. It had survived, clinging to a tiny, flickering spark of hope that one day, someone would see it, not just as an animal, but as a soul worthy of love. The dog's recovery has been nothing short of miraculous. With every day spent in the warmth of its new family's care, its body grew stronger. But perhaps even more miraculous is the emotional healing that has taken place. The dog went from a state of fear, sadness, and trauma to a place of trust, love, and joy. Every gentle pat, every meal, and every kind word has played a part in mending the deep wounds of its past. The dog's transformation serves as a testament to the incredible power of love, care, and compassion, a force strong enough to heal even the deepest emotional scars. What once seemed like an irreversible situation, an abandoned, broken dog left to die, has turned into a story of hope, renewal, and growth. The dog is no longer just a survivor. It is a thriving, loved member of a family. Its healing process, both physically and emotionally, has been slow, but it's been a process filled with patience, understanding, and unwavering dedication. The dog's journey shows us that no matter how broken we are, how far we've fallen, there is always a chance to rise again when we are shown kindness and given a safe place to heal. The dog's story carries a powerful message for all who hear it, that no matter the pain or despair one has endured, there is always the possibility of healing. Second chances exist. The dog's journey is a living, breathing example of how, with time and care, broken hearts can heal, wounds can mend, and hope can be restored. It proves that even in the darkest of times, there is a flicker of light waiting to lead us out of the shadows. The story of the abandoned German Shepherd serves as a reminder that love has the power to transform. The dog, once a symbol of neglect and suffering, has now become a symbol of resilience, rebirth, and the transformative power of compassion. Its new life, full of joy and love, is proof that no soul is ever truly lost. It just needs a little help, a little love, and a little time to heal. As the dog plays joyfully in the yard, its tail wagging happily, it reminds us that we all deserve love and the chance to heal. Whether it's a dog, a person, or any living being, everyone deserves a second chance, and everyone has the ability to heal when shown the kindness they need. This story is a call to never give up on others, to always be there for those in need, and to remember that love is the key to restoring hope in even the most broken hearts. The dog's life has been transformed, but so has the family's, and it's a transformation that will last a lifetime. As we close this heartwarming story of resilience and love, it's important to reflect on the bigger picture. The German Shepherd's journey from abandonment to recovery shows us the transformative power of compassion, but it also highlights the urgent need for more people to open their hearts and homes to animals in need. There are countless animals, just like this dog, waiting for their second chance. A chance to feel loved, safe, and wanted. Many of them have suffered unimaginable hardships, abandoned on streets, left in shelters, or neglected by those they once trusted. But with your help, these animals can find the love and care they deserve. We encourage you to consider adopting or fostering a rescued animal. By adopting, you're not just giving a pet a home, you're giving them a new life, a new beginning, just like this dog. Every act of kindness, every family that opens their door to an animal in need, helps to create a world where second chances are not only possible but celebrated. Adoption isn't just about giving an animal a home. It's about transforming lives, both the animals and yours. The love, loyalty, and companionship that a rescue pet offers is immeasurable. And through adoption, you can help break the cycle of neglect and abandonment, giving more animals the chance to heal and thrive in a loving environment. Remember, your small act of kindness could change the world for an animal in need. If you're ready to open your heart, there's a waiting companion who will forever be grateful for the chance you give them. Adopt, don't shop, because every animal deserves a chance at a happy life.